Can you imagine being single in 2026 and dating all over again?
The thought hasn't crossed my mind. I'll be honest with you. I'll personally say I was enjoying the single life, but maybe because I didn't know better at the time. I think now being in a healthy relationship, being married, look, I'm not looking
That's
back.
good. He ain't sleeping on the couch.
See,
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. What we would do if we were single again, single and dating again in 2026. I keep hearing horror stories from my girlfriends, and I hear mixed things from the men as well. But I think the biggest part to talk about for our perspective is just dating apps in general could be very daunting. I have so many friends that just like don't believe in dating apps, and to each their own. I don't think dating apps for everybody, but we met on a dating app. We met on Hinge. And at the time, honestly, it was great. Our experience was great. It's not to say everyone's experience is going to be great, but I do think there are certain expectations that you have to kind of set for yourself. And then also a certain energy that you have to bring to the apps. Because it is, if you don't have that mentality and if you don't have good expectations for it, it is going to drive you crazy. And you're just going to be those people that, it's terrible.
there's different ways you can meet people. We're going to explore maybe the dating apps because that's how we met. And we know, when you're a busy professional, you're doing things, sometimes it can be harder to get out and, meet people in certain ways, or sometimes it's hard to put yourself out there, right? Like, let's say you go to the gym and you see someone, you have your gym crush, you want to go talk to them.
Hey, shawty.
But the problem is if you absolutely like blow it or whatever, it could be like
most of the time I do
awkward,
think
right?
People, yeah.
So some people like, and even if you do end up dating and then it doesn't work out, then it's kind of weird because
it's awkward.
I don't know. That's how some people feel.
Yeah.
I still think those are good options. We'll be honest, those are good options. Meeting people, whether it be gym, church, like if you're in like a run club or some kind of community,
friend of a friend,
or friend of a friend,
like,
right?
That's always nice because they know what you like.
Exactly.
And they
those
know
are fantastic.
Good friends.
Yeah.
Good friends. Not the friends who are jealous or want you to, date a loser, but good friends who introduce you.
So there's many viable options, but what we'll really be focusing on is dating apps, just because that worked for us. And we know a lot of people are on them just because of the convenience, right? You get exposed to different people in a very quick way. You can kind of figure out what you like, what you don't like. And I think it's great, but to be fair, right, you have to also understand that these apps are a bit of a business too, right? And they may be inclined to keep you on the app. So really, I think, honestly, you get out of it what you put in. I really wholeheartedly believe that. I know people can complain and say a lot of things, but that's really my thoughts. I don't know, babe, what are your thoughts on kind of the overall process?
Honestly, I have a female perspective and then you have the male perspective because I know dating apps have very different experiences for the women's side and the men's side. First off, like for women, as a woman, like we're gonna have way more matches than men, unless you're on Bumble. I didn't really like Bumble, just because like I didn't like this idea of having to initiate conversation and then to initiate everything. Like,
let me touch on that real quick. Women are terrible at kicking off a conversation. Terrible. You can quote me on that. Like on Bumble, I've never got a good message. Like as much as women will complain about guys having bad opening lines or bad like whatever, like how many times you get like a hi or a hey or like a smiley or something? I'm like, that's the best you could do.
But I personally, and don't get me wrong, I know friends of friends who have met the love of their lives on Bumble. It's amazing. So, shout out to them. But for me personally, I like being courted. I like traditional like chivalry. I like, when a man woos me and, I respond back, and I like it's a bit of a dance. And it's not to say that men should be the ones to initiate everything all the time. But for me, personally, I'll speak for myself. I like when a man takes initiative to, that charisma. But yeah, it is very, I feel like it's a very different experience. Like I said, I feel like women have so many more matches than men, almost to a fault, and experience a lot of decision fatigue, where because you have so many matches, and high volume of matches does not equate to high quality of matches. Just putting it out there. So when you have so many options, you can't help but like swipe, no. And it's almost like all the profiles, at some point, all those profiles just kind of blur and look very similar to the one before that and the one after that. So unless your profile is extremely like out there, very different, it's so much harder for you to stand out. So for me, my experience, honestly, it was just like, I was trying really hard. And mind you, I took a break from dating period. So, I was excited to do it, fresh. And maybe I wasn't jarred by the dating apps. Maybe that's why I had a fresh perspective. But I was approaching it with a fresh perspective and excitement. And, I wasn't trying to get so caught up with the decision fatigue. I was really trying to treat each profile like with respect and just give each profile as many chances as I can give it without compromising standards, of course. But that was my experience. It's just a lot of matches. And for me, if I were single again in 2026, honestly, I would do the same thing. I would have the same approach, know what my standards are, and then just really try to look at the profiles. And I know there's this like thing where I've heard that women will always find something wrong with the profile of a man.
Well, think about it, right? So think about the supply and demand problem there. If you're a woman, especially if you're an attractive woman, right? So you're going to have a disproportionate amount of more likes on your profile. You're essentially trying to qualify out very quickly, because let's say you have 200, 300 matches, you can't spend all that time going through let me study this particular profile. You have like this wealth of options. So you're essentially saying, well, why do I not want to waste time here? So it does kind of flip on its head. For a guy, if you don't have a ton of matches, you might spend more time on an account. I mean, it's just the honest thing.
Yeah, like
truth.
3. It's like, oh.
Yeah, like that's the matches you got. You got to work what you got. You know what I'm saying? So I think I know what you're saying with the women like being they're trying. Most women are trying to disqualify you. So you, as a guy, you kind of have to make your story on your profile very clear, so that way they don't have a clear reason to say no, right? Of course, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. But I do think for a man, being a bit more intentional with their profile and kind of the story that you're creating, with your overall profile, the pictures, the prompts, the text that you use, can go a long way.
Yeah, that's such an interesting thing you mentioned, because when a man is intentional with their profile, and when we say intentional, we mean like putting a story. And this story shouldn't be someone you're not. Like, you should be your most authentic self. But you also, like, this is why we always stress the importance of having a village, whether it's your family, whether it's your closest friends, whether it's your counsel, just a community of people who love you, support you, want the best for you, see the best in you, but also see your flaws. It's very important that you have these people, the right community, to be able to be honest and give constructive feedback. So if you're really like out there, or if you have a very if you're super high energy and you're kind of all over the place all the time, and you're up here, and most people on the dating apps are like, energy-wise, they're down here. It's very important that you have people who can, lovingly say, hey, maybe tone it down a little bit, like, be you, but also like, don't go full force until, you progress.
I mean, my thought, right, is, with my background in technology, like, being an engineer, I like data, right? So like, you can actually work with I think the adage goes, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it, right? So if you're on a dating profile, if you have a dating profile, there's different levels of challenges or problems that you can have. One, if you're not getting any likes, that's a sign, right? Like, if you're getting no likes, and some guys will say like, oh, well, because I'm not a good looking guy, I'm mostly the attractive guy. No. It's not necessarily true. I think it's not just, it's how you package yourself too, right?
It's like marketing.
Yeah, it's marketing. Essentially, that's what it is. Dating is essentially marketing, right? So you have to understand your gifts, and you have to put those on display. That's essentially the goal you're trying to do. And what the market is going to tell you is whether the package you're putting out is good or bad. If you got no likes, that tells you got a bad package. You have a bad, whatever you're marketing is not good, right? Now, if you're getting likes, right? So you're getting likes and you're getting some, matches or whatever the case may be. Like, so if you're getting likes, right? But let's say you're not matched with who you would want. That's also another data point, right? And let's say you're matching, but then people aren't replying or you're not getting into dates. Like, you can see there's a progression. And the thing is what's cool about that is that information usually translates into in real life dating as well. Because if you're noticing that, okay, when I just put a bunch of random stuff or whatever case may be on my profile, I'm not getting any likes. But let's say you got more intentional and you tried to show a bit of your personality in your profile. Let's say you want to show some of your hobbies. And so you're being more intentional of telling the story of who you are and what's important to you. That also carries over into in real life dating. So even if you're just trying to talk to someone or meet somebody, you have a clearer picture of like, hey, these are my hobbies. This is what's exciting or interesting about me. And those are things that you can now share. So I do think there's a lot of great information that you can learn from online dating instead of it kind of being, demonized or having the stigma, whatever the case may be. I think there's a lot you can learn.
Yeah, no, it's a great way to think about the process. I mean, that's essentially what I appreciate about my husband's profile. He had a really good story. And I love, for Hinge, you get to upload like 6 photos or videos, and then you have to answer 3 prompts. And we liked Hinge because they definitely had conversation starters, and we're huge conversations. As you can tell, we could talk for hours. But I honestly appreciated that when he was putting his profile together, each photo said something about him. And it's not just like, it didn't reveal like what he was. Most of the time it was like what he was doing. So for example, he had like a really nice photo of him shirtless. And fellas, I'm not knocking the shirtless photos. I'm saying if you are going to show off what you got, be careful of what the story it's going to present. So I'm saying mirror selfies with the 6 to 8 pack and like, I just feel like a lot of men don't know how to take pictures that tell a powerful story. Unless you have a professional photographer friend to take the photo for you, it's hard. So I definitely acknowledge that. But for me, like when I saw your photo, that wasn't the first photo that caught my eye, obviously.
To be fair, that photo was in the back.
It was all at the bottom.
That's the strategic. I put that there strategically, right? Because if you made it to the bottom of the bottom of my profile at that point, you saw all the good stuff, and then I hit you with that last thing. Like that was the last impression. Because if you made it all the way down here, you like what you're seeing, but girl, I got something for you. You know what I'm saying? So strategic.
Strategy. Like definitely, it's not to say you shouldn't show what you work hard on, like show off what you got, but do it in a classy way that tells a good story that, again, does not disqualify you. Because it's easy, at least like for me and my girls, like it's easy for us to kind of like make assumptions when we just see that like mirror selfie or, those old school, like, I don't even know how to like, because you don't know how, like, you're awkward with it, right? But one of his photos at the bottom was him shirtless, but it wasn't direct. He wasn't looking at the mirror. He wasn't looking at himself. It was actually a very good candid photo. He was like perched up on like against like a fence or something.
I was on a boat. It was in Thailand actually.
Oh yeah, Thailand, yeah. But I didn't know. I didn't know. But all I can observe, and I'm usually very observant. So I noticed he was like kind of perched up, like somewhere, and the water was blue. It was beautiful. Like the background was beautiful, and it wasn't so much that I was so fixated on like how yummy you looked, because you did look yummy. But it was just like, it intrigued me because he just seemed to be so like present in that photo. He just seemed like he was having a good time. Like he had like a drink in his hand. He had some shades. He was just blending it. You can tell this man was having a good time before that photo was taken and after that photo was taken, because pictures speak. Wait, is it pictures speak? Say 1,000 words? No.
Yeah, it's like pictures Are worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, pictures are worth 1,000 words. And
something like that.
it was awesome because I was so intrigued by, where he was, where he went. Like, I could tell that was going to be a good conversation start because I was, when we matched, I wanted to ask you about it. I wanted to ask you, okay, tell me about the trip. And I want to know more. And that's a big thing with storytelling. Not only do you have to paint a good story with your photos and your responses, you also have to pique curiosity. Okay, tell me more. And those mirror selfies, you're revealing too much. So there's no suspense.
So this is what I'll say about, this is what I did back then and would also be true today. And I probably just do it at a better level, knowing what I know now.
Yeah.
But the idea is when I made my profile pictures, I was fortunate to have a bunch of pictures from travel, events and stuff like that. And what it signals to your audience is you're a man of adventure. You're a man moving forward. You're doing things, right? Because if you're traveling, you're going to events, this and that, there's certain things that people just assume about you, right? You can have pictures with friends too. I would limit those, maybe one.
You never know which one.
It gets a little confusing, right?
You're trying to hide among your
definitely
friends.
Don't lead off with that. That's just a dumb thing to do. People lead off with a picture with someone else. I'm like, really? You just shoot yourself in the foot.
Be courageous.
Yeah.
Own what you got.
That's it.
You're good. You're a good man. So just be bold. Be confident.
One thing I will say that was a big shift in my profile, I remember this, was my first picture was I was at a table and I'm leaning forward and I have a glass of wine. And
that was
pretty
nice,
nice dressed.
Polo.
I'm sitting.
There's a blue polo with pattern.
Yeah. And so I was sitting at a table and I had the wine and just a smile. And honestly,
you weren't looking at the camera though. You were kind of looking off to the side.
I don't even remember where I was looking. I think maybe you're right.
I remember.
But the idea was that was the best photo. Having a good smile, clear picture of your face. Obviously, the wine, I think, was a nice touch because I think also that picture, it almost made you feel like, oh, could I see myself sitting across from this person, right? I'm assuming, I don't know. But I think you need to kind of tell that story.
So this would be my view.
Yeah, exactly. That's
okay, Napa Valley, no.
And so the reason why I figured that was my best photo was I started getting likes on that photo in Hinge because you can choose what photo it is.
And then top 3. I don't even know if you make it to 3 photos, but before you even start scrolling, the first 2 things that they see have to be on the money.
You gotta come off strong with the first one because that's gonna make them look at your profile. The one thing that I would do differently or be more aware of is when you're traveling, when you're out, not being afraid to ask when to snap a picture.
Yeah.
I think
candid photos are the best, by the way.
Yeah,
if you're a bit shy on camera, I'd say, I don't know, for me, I love candid photos. I think they capture people in the most natural setting. You're not trying to especially if you're not very comfortable on camera. You're not used to having your photos taken. That is totally okay. I just think there's something nice when a man is just just in his natural element. Honestly, that's actually really what attracted me to your profile because yes, that was the first photo, and it's funny that you have a totally different perspective on what I would be thinking. For me, it was more so I was intrigued. Again, I was just naturally curious. Okay, I want to know where he went. He likes wine. Does he like red wine? Does he like white wine? I'm kind of into wine. So I wonder if we have similar interests. Or does he drink regularly? Does he doesn't seem like it's a everyday thing because that was just one photo, right?
Man, you was spiraling, huh? This guy alcoholic? Sheesh.
No. But again, I feel it's natural for, for us. I love a good story. I'm trying to make some kind of story about you. I'm trying to understand who you are before I even interact with you. And it's not to say I'm trying to judge you, but you are trying to see potential, right? Definitely that helps. And there's this thing where, I think you mentioned it, where men are it's best to have photos of you doing something, being in action, mowing the lawn or being traveling or doing something hiking or snowboarding or even just hanging out with friends, bowling or even playing card games. I don't know, doing something. I think the action is what makes a photo attractive for a man. And Also versus like and I want to know your thoughts on my profile. For me, like I honestly, I thought the same thing. Like for me, I was trying to really, because I wasn't really into like social media. So naturally, like it's not that I wasn't comfortable on camera. It's just, I'm a very present person. So when I am with friends, when I'm with family, when I'm, traveling, I don't think to take a bunch of photos of myself and friends. Honestly, I'm just so present that I don't even take the phone out. I just put it away, and it's hard for me to find good photos unless my friends are saying, "Oh, you look so cute. You should take a photo," and then they're taking it for me. But the same energy the same perspective that I had for your profile is the same thing that I took for myself. For my profile pictures, I never wanted to just like sit pretty. Like, I don't know. I wanted to also tell a story, like about who I am, what I'm into, to the best that I can, right? But
I'll be honest, most guys don't care about the story.
I know, they're visual, honest. Right? Visual.
To me, I'll tell you what stood out to your profile. For me, that's all I can say when I, looking at a profile, right, is first off, like, can I see what you look like? Are you attractive? This and that. Like, that's going to be the first thing. Be honest, you call it shallow or not. Like, I work out. Like, you just want to see if it's just all face pics. I'm going to be like, all right, a little suspicious here. I'm going to be honest, right? Like, you can cancel me if you want to. But if it's all face pictures, it's a little suspicious to me, right? In addition to that, right? Obviously,
it's lifestyle though.
Yeah, and because I like to work out, I like to be active. Yeah, so I'm looking for that in someone else. Yeah, I'm fair to say that. What I'll also add is, particularly your profile, I remember your prompts. Like I felt like you had good like responses to the prompts and stuff like that. To me, it just shows the intentionality. Like, I know some people, you send a message and they don't reply. So like, you feel like if someone put a little bit of effort into their profile, they're more likely to kind of engage with you, this and that. So that was something I looked for. Obviously looking at the information, like what you shared, because, Hinge has like a little area where you can like share your info.
Religion, political views, you want kids, not want kids, have kids,
So that's like important to take in as well. And I think like overall, like when I saw your profile, that's a big thing for me, is just like more of that feminine charm, like the radiance. Like I even shared that with you. Like that was a big thing for me, is I could feel like you were just like bubbly, and just based on your responses like that. That was something in particular that I was looking for. I know that I can sometimes be a little bit more flat, a little more calm, so I need someone who can bring some of that feminine energy.
Crackhead energy.
Yeah.
My friends call it crackhead energy.
Yeah, like that. And I needed that. So like those are some of the things that I was looking for, and that's what stood out. And I've been like, I think that's a big thing. Like if I were taking what I knew back then and taking it to now, like that's important as a guy, as a woman, whatever you're looking for, being clear on that, right? And it's fair to be realistic of where you are in the process, right? Like not everyone is ready to say like, okay, I'm trying to find the love of my life on here, and that's fine, right? If that's what you're looking for, it's okay to express that and share that. But I think that's also important. I think being a bit more forward and saying what you're looking for, that was a big change for me when I met you, was I got much more clear on what I wanted, and I wasn't afraid to like, say something like, talk about something more important, talk about the life we want, talk about the future, if they want kids, or having those tough conversations earlier, right? I think that's extremely important. And I wish I would have done that sooner and like saved some of the issues and challenges of like, dating, when you're kind of just like, everyone's, just trying not to step on anyone's toes.
Yeah. Honestly, the last thing I'll say is I was very fortunate that I took a break from dating and 3 years. And going back into dating, honestly, like as soon as I created the app, I'm pretty sure it's within the same month, I was able to match with you. And I think it was well needed that I took a break, because I had that fresh perspective. So I definitely say like take breaks. I would take a break if I if I was having like a dry spell. I definitely just take the app off or go off the app. Give it some time. Take a little breather, live my life, do what makes me happy, and then go back into it, because the last thing you want to do is just bring bitter energy or negative energy and thinking that you're not going to get matches. And again, for me, I think the positivity definitely helped, because I didn't want the app to change me. I didn't want rejection to change me. I didn't want, just because it didn't work out with this guy, or like this conversation went a little haywire or dry, like I didn't want that to change who I am. And it shouldn't change who you are, And so, fast forward to now, if I were single in 2026, I would have that same energy. It will probably be even harder to get matches now more than ever, apparently, based on what our friends are saying. But I would just I think if anything, I would work a little harder to protect my energy. Because back then when I met you, I was still fresh in dating, fresh in the apps. And honestly, I had a little bit of that like innocence, I guess. Like I wasn't marred by the apps. But if things are especially hard now more than ever, I would just be more mindful of, making sure my cup is filled, making sure that, all the things that bring me joy outside of the app, outside of dating, are always full. Because if the apps aren't doing it, like there's nothing that I'm losing. Sure, I'm spending time, but I would just be more protective and make sure that I'm constantly filled. My cup is filled, so that even if somebody rejects me, even if I'm on the dating app for like years, like I never run dry, But that would just be my last take.
So I think with that, we could just wrap this here. It's probably been a long one for you guys.
We can go for hours.
Yeah, we can go on for hours. So we're going to cut it here. And you guys have to keep a lookout for part 2.
Till next time.
Till next time.